Even though Cecilia Zandalasini and Victoria Vivian's foul was successful and painful for Caitlin, she proved herself again in the match against the Minnesota Lynx on July 14. A little later in the match, with courage in her heart and fire in her eyes, Caitlin Clark made sure they regretted their actions by showing them what she had inside of her and promising never to do it again. Is it only a sign of hostility, or that they are the experienced ones and she is the newbie? On Sunday, July 14, the game between Indiana Fever and the Minnesota Lynx got underway. Both teams came out firing, demonstrating their will to win the match. The Indiana Fever fans had a great time watching Caitlin Clark take center stage with her stellar performance in the game. She continued to have a strong on-field chemistry with Alia Boston and Mitchell, and she demonstrated her exceptional playmaking skills. Saw both teams battling to make sure that the majority, if not all, of their offensive and defensive maneuvers counted in order to win. Caitlin Clark continued to do what she does best, which is defend, set up her teammates for easy baskets, and dish out fantastic passes. In the third quarter of the game, Caitlin Clark was having fun and was unaware that something awful was about to happen to her. As the Lynx offense was dribbling up the court during a transition break, Caitlin Clark forced an aggressive move. When Cecilia Zandalasini of Minnesota caught up to Caitlin Clark, she entangled her arm to stop the rookie. Cecilia Zandalasini was being followed by Clark at the time. The WNBA officials quickly reviewed the play and called a technical foul on Caitlin Clark. Wow, the technical foul is what they tagged as a hostile act. But this did not lessen Clark's momentum in the game. Clark continued to play with vibrancy throughout the game, making a convincing 17-point run and dishing out 6 assists. Clark had to fight off the entanglement as she still had her eyes on the basket. With 6 mistakes in the Lynx game, Clark also broke the record for causing the most turnovers in a single season. To top it all off, he did it directly in Cecilia Zandalasini's face. Indiana Fever led by Caitlin Clark to a decisive 81-74 victory. Yes, no one plays around with the new boss. When talking about Caitlin Clark's infractions being disregarded, Victoria Vivian's close-range fist punch during their match on Friday, May 31st, stands out as one such incident when Cecilia had to be on the other side with an L. The Indiana Fever recently faced a tough challenge against the Seattle Storm. Despite the formidable opposition, the team showed resilience and determination in handling the pressure. Caitlin Clark has been open about the physical nature of the game and the challenges she faces from opponents. She acknowledges that coping with such physicality is a crucial aspect of her WNBA career. However, it prompts one to question the sportsmanship of resorting to unnecessary aggression and brutality toward an opponent in what is supposed to be a competitive game. With a terrific performance, Caitlin Clark in particular impressed everyone. She demonstrated great leadership while guiding the Indiana Fever through both offensive and defensive plays. Caitlin's crucial contribution helped the squad navigate the difficult and amazing gameplay that the Seattle Storm offered. Despite the tense game, the whole evening proved to be a taxing test for the Indiana Fever, and it seemed that luck was not on their side. Caitlin Clark was in the game as if her life depended on it, putting on her masterclass performance and showcasing her playmaking ability. She made sure her squad stayed up with the Seattle Storm. While some fans felt that Christine Sides, the head coach of the Indiana Fever team, did not use the proper strategies to counter the formidable impacts that the Seattle Storm team was pulling out, Sides' reactive pursuits enabled the team cut down on a significant portion of their deficit in the game. Many also thought that after their defeats to Los Angeles and Las Vegas, Seattle had what it needed to defeat the already unsteady Indiana Fever squad. Therefore, this was the match. Caitlin Clark made the decision to tell any opponent who tried to humiliate her that she had had enough of being underestimated. Fortunately, Victoria Vivian was the victim and served as an example for the rest of the world to follow. Caitlin Clark is correct when she says that her diplomacy in these kind of situations, rather than her degree of league experience, is what allows her to get some of these awful tackles. In the Friday, May 31st game between Seattle Storm and Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark demonstrated her resilience and her willingness to speak her mind. While her recent change in physical approach on the court appears to have gone unnoticed thus far, some fans may not be comfortable with her engaging in verbal exchanges with her opponents because it doesn't seem to fit with her style of play. It's just not the Caitlin Clark we used to admire watching on the court, so we can't blame her. In a swift offensive move up the Seattle Storm side of the court, the Indiana Fever team displayed a nice string of passes as the ball ended up in Caitlin Clark's hands with the understanding and certainty of the best move. After a smart dribble off the Seattle guard, Caitlin Clark scored an incredible step-back three-pointer into the hoop. Caitlin Clark backed away to her defensive position as Victoria Vivian abruptly came in on her and struck her in the face. Clearly, Caitlin Clark had had enough and responded to Victoria Vivian, saying that her dishonest behavior had not scared her. The situation worsened when Victoria Vivian confronted Caitlin Clark directly, igniting a heated altercation that necessitated the intervention of their teammates and game officials. The supporters were upset about the flagrant foul committed against their favorite player, Caitlin Clark. Despite the penalties, Caitlin Clark and Victoria Vivian got technical fouls. The spectators and fans were deeply troubled by the lack of fair play and the belief that the physical altercation was purposeful and unsportsmanlike. In such a situation, it was imperative to uphold the principles of sportsmanship and make sure that such behavior was addressed appropriately for the remainder of the game. The fans remained agitated, witnessed Caitlin Clark's incredible performance, showcasing more fearless offensive and defensive play. Caitlin Clark didn't just take the horrible fouls, she turned the tables with the rising tension. She made them regret ever underestimating her. Caitlin Clark is not just a player, she's a game changer, a motivator, a true inspiration to us all. And those fouls, they only contributed to her experience in the WNBA league. Will she relent? No, not at all. Will she become as aggressive as her opponents are during matches? We never can tell. All that is to know is that Caitlin Clark, amid all these confrontations, finds a way around them and makes the perpetrators understand that she is far above their influence in the court. The next time you doubt the indomitable spirit of Caitlin Clark, remember these unforgettable moments. Recall the horrible fouls that merely stoked the flames of her inner drive, the myriad challenges that served only to fortify her resolve. When it comes to conquering court, the name Caitlin Clark will be etched in your memory for eternity. If you think those disregarded fouls against Caitlin Clark are worth ignoring by the WNBA, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Thank you.